Hey guys, in today's video, I want to show you John Deacon's secret bass weapon. I'll see you inside the video. Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and back in about 2005 or so, I was asked to go in and dep or sub on the Queen show We Will Rock You in London's West End. And for me, as a 25-year-old bass player, this was a super exciting opportunity. First of all, I've been a lifelong fan of Queen since I was about 9 years old. And secondly, I got to explore John Deacon's bass parts in detail, which was a real thrill. And one of the big things I learned doing that show is that John Deacon had a secret weapon. Now, you'll probably be familiar that he uses a precision bass most of the time, occasionally a Stingray, but there's one thing that he used to do quite a bit which really helped create his sound in my view, and that is use the drop D tuning. So what he'd do is he'd take this string here, the E string, and then he would detune it. Now, back in the olden days, players would literally detune their bass guitar. Now, fast forward a decade or two, Hipshot brought out this wonderful gadget here called the D extender. And what you have to do is click this lever here, and this will take your tuning from an E down a whole step to a D, which makes it really easy to change tunings. So let me demonstrate. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to play the E, and then I'm just going to hit this lever like that, and you'll hear it go down to the D. So super simple. I have these on all of my basses, and I believe this to be an integral part of John Deacon's sound on tracks such as Fat Bottom Girls and Headlong. So first off, I'm going to talk about why you might want to detune and use a D extender rather than a 5-string bass. Then I'm actually going to teach you one of the bass lines that I actually played note for note from the Queen show, because this is a brilliant example of how to get to grips with using the drop D tuning, because you have to alter a few things to make it work. So just before we hit the content, I want you to know there's a completely free PDF that comes with this lesson, so you can see everything we're discussing today when I teach you the bass line written out in standard notation and tab. Links in the description below where you can grab your free copy. So why would you want to use drop D tuning over a 5-string bass? Because literally, drop D just adds 2 extra notes, like so, and also changes where all of the notes sit on the E string. So it's quite a different animal. The reason you might want to use drop D tuning over a 5-string bass is that it has a completely different vibe. It makes the E string sound very different because the tension of the string has changed. So that big fat floppy D on a 4-string bass detuned is a very different flavor to hitting that low D on a 5-string bass. So this is one of the reasons when I played the Queen show that I started falling in love with this, because the bass just behaved completely differently. The great thing is you can experiment with the drop D tuning even if you haven't got a Hipshot drop D extender, simply by detuning your bass by a whole step, and you'll experience the different tension on the E string. Now, as I said, there are some challenge which comes from it, and that is that the notes have changed position. So you have to start learning things a little bit differently, which can take some time to adjust. So the major thing that I just want to draw your attention to here is that the octave shape changes straight away. So we now have a D there. That means our first fret is going to be a D sharp, and then we're going to hit an E there. So that is the equivalent of our open E in standard tuning. So an E up the octave is there. So our octave shape changes into that. You could bar it if you wanted. So it's completely different, and that takes a little bit of time to get your head around. But the great thing that starts happening in drop D for me is that you can start playing this wonderful D octave. And then you can do all this wonderful bouncing off the open strings. And also, if you dig in hard with your right hand, you can get that beautiful clanky sound. Now, I know this isn't to everybody's taste, but I absolutely love it. So when I conceived this lesson, my plan was to actually write a bass line inspired by Queen to start showing you how the drop D tuning works. Because the best way of learning drop D, really, in my opinion, is to actually just start playing songs using it, and then you'll start adapt to the note changes. But I thought, what the heck, let's actually show you one of the bass lines that I played from the Queen show We Will Rock You note for note. So what I've done is I've taken the 8-bar second verse of Fat Bottom Girls, and I'm going to take you through that right now. So let me play the bass line with the backing track so you can hear what it sounds like in action. So the first thing we need to do is appreciate the chord sequence which is running through this 8-bar section. So it starts off with 3 bars of D, then on the 4th bar we go to an A chord, then we go back to a chord of D, then we go to a bar of G on the 5th bar of the sequence, then we get 2 beats of a D chord, 2 beats of an A chord, and then to finish it off, 4 beats of D. So that gives us our 8-bar sequence. So first of all, let's look at bar 1 of verse 2 of Fat Bottom Girls. Now there is this core 2-beat phrase which runs throughout the whole of this tune that I want you to get down. Now it starts off with 2 open Ds, and then at that point you jump up, slide to the octave at the 12th fret, and then back down. So you end up with this phrase. So just do that round and round to begin with, eyeball that 12th fret so you're always accurate, and really dig in hard with your right hand to get that rocky sound. So once you've got that down, we're going to start experimenting with how some of the notes fall differently on the fretboard. So this next phrase is coming up, which sounds like this. Okay, which is one of those classic sort of country rock phrases. So let me take that apart. So just after the 3rd beat, we play a C on the A string, and then we play 2 16th notes, the B and the A. So that's as normal. And then we play an F. Now this is where things get interesting, on the D string even, at the 3rd fret. So that is where our F now sits. If you were in traditional tuning, this would look like a G. So you end up with this phrase. Now what I like to do is put a little bit of wobble on that note there to get that bluesy sound. So we now got a 1-bar phrase that we can loop round. So get that first bar down, round and round, and then go on. So let's move on to bar 2 now. The great thing is the first 2 beats are exactly the same. Then we have this very similar phrase that happens on beats 3 and 4, which is simply like that, landing the low D on the beat 4 of the bar. So that phrase is C, A, and then the F at fret 3 on the D string, or the low string, like that. So the whole of the 2nd bar sounds like this. So once you've got the 2nd bar down, put the first 2 bars together and you get this. So let's move into bar 3 here. Now the critical thing you've got to appreciate about bar 3 is the end of it is leading into our chord change, which is the A chord. And I suggest you play that open A chord, or the note using the open string there. So this is the phrase. The first 2 beats stay the same. Then back down like that, and then 2 Ds like that. So this is the first 3 beats. Then to lead us into the the A bar, what we get is 2 notes, which is a C, a B, and an A like that. So that's how we handle a chord change once more. Now, when we're on the A chord, much of the sort of language and ideas that we're using on the open low D string translate into the A string. So this is the phrase. So let me take you through that. So 2 open A's, slide up to the A at the 12th fret, back down, 2 A's, and then we have this F and then D at the end of it, like so. Big, deep, fat notes from that D-tuned string. So we end up with this. So let me play you bars 3 and 4 together now. So we end up with this. So guys, we're halfway through the lesson now. I'd love to ask you, if you're enjoying this lesson, please make sure you like and subscribe to the eBassGuitar YouTube channel, because we release a lesson designed for the beginner to intermediate bass guitar player who wants to take their bass playing to an advanced level every single week. There's a red button somewhere around this video. So let me play you the first 4 bars now so you can hear them in context. 3, 4, dum. So it's time to look at bar 5 now, and this is where things really start changing. And for a dyslexic like me, I can find this quite brain melting because the notes are at different places. So we need to play the G chord. Now our G chord has moved to fret 5 on the low D string. So this is the phrase that we play in bar 5. It sounds like this. So that is simply 2 G quarter notes to begin with. Then we play this phrase, which is 3 Gs. And then right at the end of the bar is an F, and then we land back on the D at the beginning of the next bar. So we've just got 2 bars to go, and they sound like this. And to remind you, we are simply playing over 2 beats of a D chord, 2 beats of an A chord, and then a bar of D. So this is the phrase, which we play over the D chord, which is simply 2 Ds, jump up to the D at the 5th fret on the A string, to the C, open A, 2 open A's, and then to the F, open D, and then D on the first beat of the next bar. Hold that for 3 beats, and then on beat 4, just slide up and back down. So put that in time, it sounds like this. So just before we put the full 8 bars to the track, I want to play it slowly in isolation so you can follow it through just listening into the bass part. So it sounds like this. So let's play the whole thing with the backing track so you can hear it in context. So that's the end of the lesson, guys. So just learning those 8 bars will give you a brilliant insight into how the drop D tuning works. Please have a lot of fun with it because I absolutely adore thrashing around on this floppy low D string. Anyway, if you need any more help with your bass playing, the #1 thing first of all to do is download the free PDF which comes with this lesson so you can see everything written out in standard notation and tab. Once you've done that, jump over to eBassGuitar.com. Check out the Bass Lab Plus. That is my private members training program where I help beginner to intermediate bass players take their playing to that advanced level and play the very best bass of their life. What's even better is you can take the program for a road test completely free using the link in the description below. You can check it out completely free for 14 days. How good is that? Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com. I'll catch you next time.